Back to the block, I'm scamming. Back in the shop, I'm scamming. Get it off a dummy, I'm scamming. Always get money, I'm scamming. Back to the block, I'm scamming. Back in the shop, I'm scamming. Get it off a dummy, I'm scamming. Always get money, I'm scamming.
What is up, sad fans? Welcome back to the show. We talk about the good, the bad, and everything that made you sad from the previous week in sports. And we're not going to open with the NFL again. We're not going to open with the NFL again because I don't have the energy to open and pretend like I care about how Shedeur Sanders did against somebody's third string, second string players like everyone else is, because we're just not that hungry for attention. We'd love your attention, but we're not going to fake our way through it and wade into this Shedeur Sanders debate. Look, the people that really like Shedeur really like him, and they're going to find any excuse to hop on this train. But I'm going to remind you, I was right about Shedeur Sanders. I'm going to be right about Shedeur Sanders. I was right about Justin Fields, and I'll continue to be right about quarterbacks that just don't have the capability. The only quarterback I've been wrong about in the 4 years we've been doing this program was, all right, you could say Bo Nix. I was hard on Bo Nix too, but I think the jury's still out on Bo Nix. I still don't believe that Bo Nix is that good, and we're going to find out this year with what he's able to do with the team that they've tried to surround him with to make him into a serviceable quarterback. I'm more sold on Brock Purdy than I am on Bo Nix, because Brock Purdy has gotten it done. And his rookie year, the only reason the 49ers weren't able to do much was because he lost an arm. His elbow was knocked out of socket. So, second week in a row, we're not starting with the NFL. We're going to start with something that's not super popular in the United States, but it is the most popular sport in the entire world. That's right. This week we are going to start with European football, soccer for the Americans. And what we're going to talk about is the British Premier League, because their season is actually starting tonight, depending on where you are. It could be starting this morning if you're on the west coast of the United States listening to this. But the British Premier League kicks off with the champions tonight in Liverpool as they play Bournemouth. And I've got to say, for what we've gotten from a lot of our sports on opening day, we're going to get a huge opening. Today's opening day, but we're going to get a huge opening Saturday from the Premier League as we see a lot of big name teams face off this week. And it's going to be really fun having soccer back in our lives, having European football back in our lives. But the game, of course, we're all very excited about is my favorite squad on Saturday, Aston Villa taking on Newcastle. Now, Newcastle was all but eliminated from Champions League football last year when Rodgers knocked in a man down against Manchester United. But that goal was negated, and we all remember I came on here and I was irritated, I was pissed off, I was angry because that should have never happened. There's no world where that was not a goal. Everyone was baffled by it, and it propelled Manchester United to a win, and it led Villa to lose their spot in the Champions League. And Newcastle got that spot. Of course, at the end of the year, they were playing their games simultaneously, so side by side. Now, Villa needed that game. They needed to win that game to advance. That's what they needed. And they had it in the palm of their hands, and it was taken from them. And who replaced them in that slot? Newcastle. So this game is very, very important for Villa to prove that, you know what? It's wrong. It shouldn't be Newcastle. Newcastle's not that great. And we're going to make up for what has been just a boring transfer window this year with a really big game that we're hoping for fireworks in. Now, if Villa's not your speed, if Villa Newcastle is not your speed, then you're going to have to wait till Sunday, because on Sunday we've got a major matchup, a banner matchup, marquee matchup. You've got Manchester United taking on Arsenal on Sunday in the evening game. And that is massive because Arsenal is literally always the bridesmaid, never the bride. They're always second place. They're one of the more popular teams in the world, not just England, in the world. And they can't get over the hump. They can't get it done. And last year they were right there. But Liverpool just ran away with it. They just ran away with it, and Arsenal could never keep up. So this is a tone setter game. And it's a big game for Man United, too. Coming off a couple disappointing years in a row, Man United needs to show something here to show, like, hey, we are still one of the top teams. We are still a blue blood in the Premier League. We're still a team that you all want to lose because you're jealous of what we've accomplished. I know I love watching Manchester United lose. I'm one of those people that roots for their downfall every single game. And I wish they would get relegated. I'm just going to come right out and say it. I would love to see a team like Man United get relegated. But right now, on Sunday, it's a game, it's a time for happiness. Arsenal is a heavy, heavy favorite in this game, and it's just exciting to have this sport back. It was, like I said, not a great transfer window, and it didn't really give us a reason to be intrigued or to be excited except for these matchups that I just talked about. When the biggest move is Tottenham losing Son and him going to the MLS to play for Los Angeles FC, LAFC, that's not a great transfer window. When that's the biggest thing you see happen, that's a slow transfer window. If you've been following me on Twitter or anywhere like that, you know I have not been happy with a lot of the moves that Villa have made. I wanted to see a big-time signing at center back. We didn't get that. I wanted to see some movement outside of just waiting for the players that were not healthy last year waiting for them to get healthy. We didn't get that. We got a lot of re-signings. We've got some talk that Rodgers is going to land a humongous deal, but we didn't get any new blood in there. We got a lot of the same thing. We got one new striker from France, and we'll see what he's capable of, what he's able to do, if he could fill the hole that John Duran left. Because make no mistake about it, John Duran did leave a huge hole as he was a super sub. He was the guy that you could count on. And when you saw him get subbed into the game, you knew that there was a very, very high chance that he was going to put it in the back of the net. You knew it, and that's why they sold him. And you can't pass up the offer that they got for a John Duran, but it did suck to see him leave, and it's been hard to fill that gap. And we're also going to see what Ollie still has left in those legs, because right now he's getting up there in age. He is still phenomenal. He's got an issue with kicking the ball directly at the keeper. And if you're a Villa fan, you know exactly what I'm talking about. He loves to aim directly for a keeper, but he's still a great villain. He's been fantastic for this squad. And I just hope that they're able to surround him with the cast that can help him get to where he can be, the player that he can be. And hopefully Villa gets back into that Champions League football this year. And hopefully we go ahead and annihilate a Newcastle United tomorrow. All right, on to college football. We've got college football coming up next week. And the reason why the NFL is on the back burner, again, is because we can't just sit here and talk about preseason nonstop. That can't be what we do. We cannot get enamored with the Cleveland Browns or the New York Jets. I read somewhere that the New York Jets found a generational quarterback. And if you're following anything with New York Jets football, you're hearing a lot of the opposite from who's reporting on the Jets. So it's really funny to watch people cling to a hope that just shouldn't be there. It's not real, guys. The Jets are going to jet, and that's one thing we all know. The only thing they can hope for is the Dolphins continue their precipitous fall off of the edge of the cliff that they have found themselves on. But let's talk college football. Let's talk NCAA as we return, and let's talk about Arch Manning finally getting a starting spot for the Texas Longhorns. So he is finally at the helm of this Texas Longhorns team, and it's his chance to finally show, like, yo, I am right up there with my uncles. I'm right up there as far as college greatness is concerned with Peyton Manning. I am right up there with Eli Manning as far as college greatness is concerned. But I do have my own thoughts on this. What's wild to me is that Arch Manning, who by all accounts was a superstar recruit. He's a superstar. He was a superstar freshman quarterback. He is, by all accounts, a stud. He is what Texas quarterbacks are supposed to be. And if you did watch preseason football, I'm going to tell you right now who he got beat out by 2 years in a row. 2 years in a row, he was beat out by Quinn Ewers. Now, I liked Quinn Ewers, and I wasn't hiding that. I liked him in college football. But as the draft got closer, I fell off on him. I didn't see enough to really have me obsessed with him needing to go higher than he did. He went exactly where he should have gone, and he played like it over the weekend. So it's concerning to see Arch Manning lose the starting job to him 2 years in a row. And the only argument that can really be made here is perhaps it's because Quinn Ewers had a stronger grasp of the offensive scheme. He was more capable of executing on a level that Steve Sarkisian wanted to see out of his quarterback. He had better rapport with some of the players that were on that squad. And this year, it doesn't help. It doesn't help Arch at all, because this year we're going to have the number one team in the nation pressure on him from day one. From day one, we're starting off the season with Arch Manning being told, hey, we think that you are the best player on the best team in the nation. Now, when I say we think you are the best player, that is because he is also, let's go back to how I started this conversation, he is also the front runner for the Heisman Trophy. That's right. Arch Manning, in his first year as a starter, is the odds-on favorite to win the Heisman Trophy. With that being said, why? Why he played in a couple games, not well last year, well enough to get a couple wins against some teams that Texas was far better than, that he should beat. And now he's considered the best player in all of college football, which is perplexing because we haven't seen that. We haven't seen that from him. Is it because he is in the Sarkisian system? Is it because we saw Quinn Ewers do some great things when he took the helm? Is it because Arch Manning's deceptively mobile? Like, Arch Manning is like Aaron Rodgers was his first few years in the NFL, mobile. He can wiggle around. He can get outside the pocket. He's got a live wire for an arm, and he's got the genetics to really back up this argument that, hey, this is the best player in all of college football. The only thing he doesn't have on his side is the resume. There's no proof that he has earned this spot. Now, what are they basing this on? Practice? Okay, because I do agree that Texas is probably the best team in college football on paper right now. I do agree with that. They lost a lot of really good players in the draft this year, but I do agree on paper he is probably the best, or pardon me, the Texas Longhorns are the best team. They're the team on paper. Hey, pick one of these teams to be the NCAA champion at the end of the year, to run the table in the playoffs, to run the table in the SEC. I would say Texas. Texas looks great. But what's crazy to me about all the things I just said, Arch Manning being the Heisman favorite, being basically told, hey, we think you're the number one player in college football. The Texas Longhorns being told, hey, you guys are, in our minds, the best team in all of college football. Guess what? So just like in the Premier League, I said there are some great matchups for you to watch this weekend. Next weekend, there are some great matches in college football, and one of them involves who everyone thinks is the number one team in college football, to include myself. They are playing against the champions, Ohio State, who also lost quite a few players. They're playing against the Ohio State Buckeyes. If you're on this show, you can call me Ohio State hater. You're right. I don't like Ohio State. They're my least favorite team in all of college football, and part of that is because they have a history of greatness. They are a team that consistently wins. They consistently find a way, whether it be with the demon that is Urban Myers, or whether it be with the whether it be with that one guy that you guys always want fired, the coach that you guys cannot stand in Ohio, even when he wins championships. That's the coach that you guys have leading you once again in Ryan Day. So if that's what you're hoping, or if you're following us, Ohio State doesn't like their coach, okay? He won them a national champion, and he doesn't like it there either, based on everything we've seen. So it's very funny that they've been able to accomplish what they've been able to accomplish. It just shows the resources that that football team has, that program has, to continue to be great year after year, in spite of Ryan Day. I still don't know if he's a good coach. I have no idea. I know he's got a stacked team every year he is on that sideline, because Ohio State will be stacked every single year. Make no mistake about it. So what's crazy to me is, according to the AP, Ohio State is the number 3 team in the nation. Number 3. They play, according to the AP Press, the number 1 team in the nation in Texas. So why in the world is Ohio State the favorite in this game? That's right. Number 1, number 3, no games have been played. We're getting ready, and the odds makers have Ohio State a 2.5 point favorite. Texas is plus 110 in this game. Doesn't make any sense to me. How can they be the number 1 team and be the underdog? How is that possible? Can we get our life together and make this all line up so that we don't have the number 1 team, the perceived number 1 team in the nation, as an underdog in game 1 against Ohio State? It just doesn't make any sense. What are the factors that are determining these decisions? Make it make sense. All right. I can't leave you guys hanging 2 weeks in a row. Let's talk a little bit about the NFL. Let's talk about week 1 of the preseason. And let's talk about why preseason doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because it doesn't matter to the NFL at all. And in reality, I'd rather see the in-practice scrimmages between teams. I really would. I'd rather them film that. That seems like it is more live wire. It is more intense. They're getting more accomplished. There's more coaching that's going on in those scrimmages than what's going on in these preseason games, because these preseason games don't matter. They don't matter to the coaches. They don't matter to the players. And it's weird that they matter to the fans. It really is. It shouldn't matter. But we had 2 ties showing us all we need to know about how the NFL feels about these games. You had the Raiders tie the Seahawks in the first week of preseason, and you had the Bears tie the Dolphins in the first week of preseason. Who cares? Who cares? These games should not be something that you get your head wrapped up in. These games should not be something, unless you're a fantasy football player that wants to get in there and try to find a sleeper, especially week 1. Like, you're down bad if you're falling over yourself to get to your television to watch week 1 preseason football, because you're not going to find out more than you found out on paper. You might find a little sleeper for your fantasy football team, but that is it. There's not really a strong reason to get in here and really dig into the preseason. There was not really a breakout outside of people trying to make what Shedeur Sanders did a breakout performance. Travis Hunter didn't do much in his preseason debut, in his NFL debut. So there's not a ton to talk about here. There's not a ton of meat on these bones to really get excited about. There's not much that we can really say, hey, NFL fans, this is what we're excited about as far as the NFL is concerned. And we're excited about it because of the preseason, because that did not happen. In fact, the top headline right now on most NFL sites is still about the roster. It's still Terry McLaurin is holding out, and the Commanders would love to see Terry McLaurin on the field. The offensive coordinator is quoted saying, "We need McLaurin on the field." That is the number 1 story coming out of NFL websites and NFL topic centers and ESPN. There are all kinds of reasons why we don't need to get ourselves involved with getting tied up or passionate about preseason football, because preseason football doesn't matter. In fact, most of the time, you just don't want to see your favorite player, your all-star on your team, go out there and get hurt. That's the thing you're most worried about as it pertains to preseason football. Outside of that, we're just watching laundry on the field, run back and forth, and you're getting excited about it, when in reality, it's not going to have a bearing on the season unless your star player gets hurt. Now, we've had 2 rookies go down for the season. We had Baltimore Ravens cornerback go down in week 1 of the preseason, and in practice, we had the Buffalo Bills number 1 draft pick, Mad Max, go down at cornerback in week 1. If you're an NFL fan, the one thing you want to see is you want to see these players stay healthy for your favorite team, so that you know that despite what you think about their offseason moves, they're able to put the best team possible on that field week 1 and give you that drug, hope, slamming it right into your veins. That's all you want to see from your team. It really is. If it's preseason you're worried about, just worry about, okay, that guy's going to be a great backup, because that's all you're seeing in preseason. Thanks so much for joining us each and every week here on TheSadFan. We will see you next time.
Back to the block, I'm scamming. Back in the shop, I'm scamming. Get it off a dummy, I'm scamming. Always getting money, I'm scamming.